Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from DeltaCX.com. We're a full service CX and UX agency and consultancy. Happy Friday. Check us out. This is the Friday reaction stream. And before I go into the things that you've sent, I want to talk a little bit about the current and future state of the reaction stream. So we've been doing it for some months, and I've been getting some feedback from people in the Slack channel, some feedback privately. Some people love it, some people don't love it. But let's talk about what it is and what it could or should be. Hi, I-10 and Wilson. So originally the reaction stream was meant to be like a short Friday stream, blow off some steam, something that wouldn't be longer than 15 minutes. Find a couple of wacky things on the internet, in the CX and UX world, respond to them and shut down the stream. And I started getting so much stuff. Hi, BJ. I started getting so much stuff from people that this is now an hour-long stream, and it will be today as well. So that's too long. And the complaints that I'm getting, I think, are quite valid. People are saying, hey, look, it just sounds like the same thing every week. Every week it's a terrible UX job and a ridiculous boot camp and some terrible YouTube video and something ridiculous Joe Natoli said. And these people are correct. There's no fighting that, unfortunately, the reaction stream has become a bit predictable. Hi, Ekening. And a little bit formulaic by accident. So here's what the future, today I'm going to do a traditional reaction stream. I'm going to pull up the things that you sent. We're going to give them a quick reaction, since many of them fit the description I just said of stuff we've already gone over a million times. And in the future, what we're going to do is we're going to make a shorter reaction stream based on the original intention, closer to 15 minutes on Fridays. Currently every Friday in the new year, because I'm taking some vacation time coming up, so that you might see some missing. But for the new year, possibly every Friday, possibly every other Friday, and I'm going to hand pick things. So each week I might just do 4 things that you sent me. There might be things you send me that I'm not going to do. There might be things you send me that I've already done. And there might be things you send me that I'm going to not do. And by the way, it really helps if you send them with commentary, because sometimes I get stuff and I don't know why or what I'm looking for, and you'll see that in some of today's examples. And I think if we keep it to 4 wacky things and about 15 minutes, I think it'll be a lot more fun and maybe something a little bit more watchable rather than like an hour of ranting. And also, I can tell by the YouTube statistics, now that we've been doing these for some months, that it is the least popular show here. So thanks to the people who are here, this is the least popular show. So that means it's something that might not be worth the time that I'm putting into it, and best to back off on it and see if that improves it or if it needs additional change. So like anything else in UX, I'm getting user feedback and I am iterating. So that being said, and thank you for understanding. And for those of you who like the ranting and the drama, we do that a lot here. So I don't think you're gonna miss too much. So let's jump in. Let's see. And I will share my screen and we'll take a look at what you sent. Now, I've been collecting these for about 3 weeks. We haven't done this stream in a while, and we're going to take another break again. So there's a lot here, but I'm going to go through them faster than usual. Again, especially given what we're now saying about the reaction stream is that an hour of ranting is just something most people don't want to see. And for the few people who do, I apologize that I'm not totally catering to you on this one. So this came in, it was an article about Facebook, and I thought it was ironic that, of course, here's an article about Facebook, and I'm getting, can we leave a squillion cookies on your computer? And I'm in a private browser, I'll just say agree. But it said Facebook to shut down facial recognition technology and delete data on people's faces. And I think the comment that came with it was something like, well, now is Facebook finally going to learn their lesson, or is now Facebook finally going to have to shut down or change? No, of course it's not. Facebook has been through so many controversies in the past squillion years, and they haven't changed a damn thing. And in fact, they keep dialing it up. They absolutely dial it up because they don't get in enough trouble any of these times, and y'all still use Facebook. So stop using Facebook and maybe they'll have to take a look at themselves. But if you keep using Facebook, they have no incentive to change because their ethics tell them they don't. So I didn't read this, but that was the question that came in. And my answer is no, Facebook is not going to change. This one deserves a little bit of extra time, and the rest of them I'm going to mostly blow through. This was a Medium article that says, please don't pay for UX design mentorship. Now, right off the bat, I just want to say that if you don't want to pay for UX design mentorship or coaching, you don't have to. It is not mandatory. If you don't want to pay for it, if you can't afford it, if you're not sure if you're interested enough in UX to spend money on it, you absolutely don't have to pay for it. However, you probably paid for piano lessons. You probably paid for tennis lessons. You probably paid for martial arts school. You went to that yoga class. There's a lot of things that we pay for when we want expert coaching. You might have gone to a therapist. I'm pro therapy. That's an expert coach who you paid for their time and expertise. So I think that it's a little unfair to say nobody should ever, it says some things shouldn't cost money. Well, then, should all education be free? Where's the slippery slope on that? So I think that this is an unfair angle on things. But again, if you only want to take the UX design mentorship that you can get for free, then go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm just worried about who those people are and what kind of feedback they're giving you. If you find great people giving you real tough love and real feedback and overseeing your work and they're not accepting pay for it, that's great. Let's see. They're saying the line between coaching and mentorship is hard to distinguish. Many of the same services a coach could offer you are commonly in mentorship. I would agree there. To me, there is no difference between coaching and mentorship other than, in my opinion, coaching is paid and mentoring is free. So there you go. But here you have this. It's not right or moral to charge for mentorship. I think that's tough. I mean, those of you who have had mentoring or coaching sessions with me, however you want to call them, and let's assume for our own purposes that mentoring and coaching are the same thing. Was that wrong? Was that immoral? Classes, books, templates, and learning resources justifiably cost money. Tangible resources come with a price, but career coaching, resume, portfolio review, interview prep, hour-long chats should be free. So according to this person, if I'm reading this correctly, I should give unlimited people, possibly, or maybe a few people, unlimited hour-long chats? Because to me, really good coaching could be 2 hours a week. How many people should I give 2 hours a week? At what point is my time valuable? At what point is my expertise valuable? If learning resources cost money, and I am a learning resource, why can't I charge money? So I have to admit that I read this and I didn't really understand why this person said this other than they don't want to pay for it. And that's fine. And for some reason, they don't want you to pay for it. And that's fine. Wilson says, let's remember that ADP List has a lot of mentors that have a year or less of UX experience. Exactly. To me, it's got to be quality over price. Sometimes you don't want the cheapest car at the used car lot. You want the car that matches your budget and matches your needs, and you're trying to save some money on it. So I think that it's fine to pay money for things that are important to you. Whatever is your path for education, if that includes mostly or all free things and you get where you're trying to go, that's fantastic and I support you. If it's mostly or all free things and you're not getting where you want to go, someone recently asked me to look at their portfolio, and I thought that their portfolio was quite poor and I thought that they were unlikely to get a job. And I asked them more about their UX process, and I thought their answer was not a strong answer and would be unlikely to get them a job. And I said, can I ask where you learned this? And they had taken some free or inexpensive courses on Udemy 2 years ago. So this is someone who has been functioning in this free and inexpensive world for 2 years, and now 2 years later is probably not job ready. They had a lot of negative emotions about that, and so did I. So this person says, I will never charge for UX mentorship. That's fine. But one thing this person isn't saying is how many people will they mentor? It's okay if they never charge, but how many people will they mentor for free? 1 at a time? 2 at a time? How much do they have time for? So I'm mentoring, I think right now, 6 people for free, and the rest of the people that I charge for. And when somebody cycles out of the free mentorship, I bring in somebody else who I mentor for free. So I tend to do about 6 people for free. They don't ask for that much. They probably could ask for more. But I also don't want people to be afraid to pay for something that has value to them. It's up to you. You have to find the right education and path for your budget. I don't want anybody to tell you, never pay for mentoring, never pay for coaching. It's unethical. I don't see how it's unethical. If you're spending a lot of time learning designs, why shouldn't you charge for your time? But when it's come to who's inclined to pay for these things, they're young people, career transitioners, or people desperate for work. Well, that's typically who needs coaching and mentoring. The people who are not in that set are people who have jobs and don't have trouble getting a job. So basically, you've defined the target audience for mentoring and coaching and then said, oh, these are the people who are inclined to pay for it because they need help. Paid mentorship targets a group of people who are unaware of the industry and they're vulnerable. Again, I think it's unfair of this person to cry unethical and lump all of us in the same bucket because that's not me. I am not going after vulnerable people. Maybe people who are charging for their Slack channel and charging for this and that are, but I'm concerned that this person has lumped me into a bucket I shouldn't be in. No one with any understanding of UX, knowledge of the landscape, or any understanding of the availability of free mentorship would fall into those traps. So again, free mentorship is great if you can get it, and it's not great if it's crappy. So ultimately, this is when I read something like this, I often say, do you even UX? Because this seems extremely extreme. So I'm just going to move on. I disagree with this article, and I think it's up to you to decide what you want to pay for your help, education, and advancement and upskilling. If you have a budget for that, great. If you have no budget for that, great. But don't put your critical thinking hat on and don't let anybody tell you this is unethical, especially when they can't prove it. I don't see an example here. They're just saying anybody who has paid mentorship is targeting vulnerable people and it's a trap. I think that's unfair. That lacks critical thinking, and it puts me in a crappy bucket, and I don't want to be there because that's not me. So no, thank you. All right, now we're going to go back to the lightning round because most of these things don't deserve our time at all. Someone asked me to take a look at this boot camp, and may I say for the millionth time that we have 2 shows in the live stream podcasts playlist. Just search YouTube for Delta CX Boot Camp as one word, and I'm sure a bunch of videos will come up. If you watch the ones that have episode numbers, I teach you how I assess whether or not a boot camp is likely to be a good program, a university is likely to be a good program, an online course is likely to be a good program. You can learn my method for assessing this, which means you don't have to ask me what I think of it. You can use my method and critical think it yourself. This says learn graphic design. So graphic design isn't UX. This is what UX UI design bootcamp request info. So does that mean this doesn't exist yet? No, I'm on that page. Learn graphic design, still not UX UI design. Learn the fundamentals of UI and visual design. So this is basically a graphic visual design where they're going to throw a couple of things at you that say UX. I might expect you to be job ready as a visual designer, graphic designer, or production designer, but based on their own descriptions, I would not expect you to be job ready as a UX designer. That is my 30-second impression. Okay, someone sent me a 93-page PDF with no context and didn't tell me what to look for. And I don't know what y'all think I do all day, but I don't have time to read a 93-page PDF, especially with no context. And not like, hey, Deb, check out page 24. What do you think of what they're saying there? So needless to say, I didn't read this. I think it's important that people have some respect for my time and realize I can't read this. And if you don't tell me what I'm looking for, I don't want to read this. I just don't. Ultimately, I'm sure whatever this is something we're already doing with a new name. That's my impression. I started skimming it a little. I thought maybe they're just going to try to rename user-centered design as system shifting design because everybody wants to pee on something and call it their own. So I'm not reading this. And if you'd like to send it in for a future reaction stream, can you please tell me what I was looking for or give me a summary because I will not read this. Thank you. Moving on. You want drama? There it was. Okay, this is something called Points of View, and evidently they have some sort of like icebreaker activities for group workshops. It is not necessarily a UX thing for the person who sent this in told me. It just seems to be an icebreaker thing for workshops. And it seemed to be something that was just all about you. And ultimately, I don't have a lot of thoughts on this. Y'all know I'm not a big fan of workshops. But if you think your workshop needs icebreakers and if you think your workshop needs a get to know each other type of thing, and this seemed somewhat emotional, so I think you want to make sure that this is the right group to do something like this with. It may or may not be for everybody. Because it says we look at a photograph and a word and we get creative. And, you know, they put a picture of a person and a word. I didn't watch this. All I can say is I'm not an icebreaker activities person. If you feel that's important for your workshop, you can always check out Points of View and see if you like it or not. It's not something that I would use, and the person who sent it to me didn't seem to think fantastically highly of it, so, you know, you can make your own decision. Josh says, everybody wants to pee on something and call it their own. Thank you. So let's move on. This is a LinkedIn post from somebody, and this is another type of thing we get in the reaction stream over and over and over, and it's people battling over the definitions of terms that have no standard definitions. What's a UI designer versus a product designer? What's a design thinker versus a product thinker? What, you know, and I think that these are all very boring and not worth fighting. We have so many problems in UX. We have so many problems with customer centricity. We have so many problems with bad culture at our job. I cannot get hung up on what's the difference between product thinking and design thinking. Just can't. So this one is getting hung up on the difference between user researchers and UX/product researchers. And let me say that whatever this says, I'm sure I won't agree. Let's face it. Whatever this says, I'm unlikely to agree because to me, there's no difference. A user researcher, a UX researcher, and a product researcher should all be looking at the same thing. I don't believe that we have an entire category of people who only look at what should we build and an entire category of people who only look at how will we build it from a research perspective. I do think that we have researchers who look at who are our customers and what do they need, and then we have architects and designers who look at how will we solve those problems and build. But ultimately, this helps nobody. This helps nobody, it standardizes nothing, and it just causes fighting, so it gets my clickbait award. All of these should get the clickbait award. And remember, when you respond to this stuff on LinkedIn, even to disagree, LinkedIn bumps it up in the algorithm. So if you know that this is crap, do yourself a favor, press 3 dots. Don't say report, that's a bit heavy, but say, I don't want to see this. So, and don't press like and don't comment on it and don't send it to people. You know, we shouldn't even talk about these things that are just stupid. They're just stupid. Is this guy really going to hire an entire team of user researchers and silo them to just this aspect of research, and then an entire team of UX researchers and silo them to something else? That doesn't make sense. In an agile world, we're trying to break down silos. So what is this? Kendra Wallace, friendly face. Design thinking, digital health, and managed care. So when this was sent to me, I skimmed through it and I thought that she had nothing but great points, but never tied it back to design thinking. So I didn't know why the word design thinking was even there. I think that user-centered design in healthcare and digital health and clinical UX is really important and not being done enough right now. But to me, it's got nothing to do with design thinking. Like, to me, the biggest problem with healthcare UX and clinical UX isn't we're not doing enough design thinking. It's we're not using user-centered design and being customer-centric. So, and here's Darren commenting, I hope design thinking doesn't make its way into healthcare spaces. Too much is at stake to engage in design by groupthink. Yep, I think Darren said it, and Wilson is setting off the Imhotep emoji, which I hope is floating on the screen, but I can't see it. Moving on. Robin Story, who wants to sell you resumes, or I guess something like that, says, job seekers don't care about the candidate experience. Clickbait, of course we do. Tell me, for all of you who are posting to our Slack channel, and by the way, if you'd like to join the Slack channel, it's totally free. You can find a link to it on the deltacx.com links page. You can also find how to enter our giveaway, how to sign up for my Axure course. What else is there? Everything. Just go there and look. And of course, like this video and subscribe on YouTube. We just passed 3,000 subscribers, so we will be having a comedy stream to celebrate right around Christmas. So first of all, we do care about the candidate experience. If you didn't care about the candidate experience, y'all wouldn't be complaining about, I got ghosted, they didn't get back to me, I had to do 17 interviews, they gave me 42 design challenges that had no context. We do care about the candidate experience. So right there, I know this person is on a clickbait adventure to say, I only care, did I get the job or not? You're welcome. Well, you're welcome for what? You didn't help me with anything. It's just clickbait, and unfortunately, people made this go viral. And I think it's not worth going viral because it doesn't say anything meaningful, actionable, or helpful. I do care about the candidate experience. Do you want a resume writer person on LinkedIn teaching companies that candidates don't really care about the experience? Do you want to press like on that? And then next time a leader sees that, they go, oh yeah, look how many people like this. I guess they don't care about the candidate experience. Critical thinking, possible outcomes. Okay, this is Medium article type of stuff that says encouraging secondary research in design. I skimmed it and it sounded like this person was in an environment and spoke to, interviewed other designers and found out most of them were only doing evaluative research. I'm sorry, they spoke to researchers. They were mostly doing evaluative research where they tested designs. And this person is saying, gee, we should probably add some secondary desk research. And my thought is, no, if we're going to fight for anything, fight for primary observational qualitative research. Do not fight for secondary desk research. That is like plan Q on the list of things. Secondary desk research can be nice, but why aren't we asking for generative and exploratory observational research? Why are we asking for so freaking little? And then y'all come here going, people don't take me seriously. I showed them this article. Boo, stop doing it to yourself. Moving on. Okay, oh, I opened this one twice. It's still bad. Okay, Dimitris is a friend of the show, and this was sent to me within an hour of when it got posted, so it made me wonder if Dimitris himself sent it in. But we like him, so let's see what he's saying. These are the steps that someone needs in order to unsubscribe from user testing's mailing list. Okay, so I guess he was on their mailing list and wanted to unsubscribe. Click on the click here to unsubscribe, which doesn't look like a link and is an 11-point font with a failing WCAG contrast. Then go to their unsubscribe page. Now you have to select a checkbox. Then you need to fill in the email address. Yeah, look, Dimitris is usually right. And he's right here too. And I don't know what you want me to react to. And this is why people don't like reaction streams. What do you want me to say here? He's right. And scene, right? What else can I say about that? He's right. These are dark patterns. It shouldn't be this hard to unsubscribe from anything. So, and Solomon says secondary research assumes the other guys did it right. Also true. This was a TikTok video that someone was nice enough to download and send to me because I'm not on TikTok. And so this was a day in my life as a product manager in tech. Now, as you can see from the screen that I've stilled, this is someone who is wearing a badge. They work in Silicon Valley, and they have their arms out because they are showing you their workplace gives them access to a gym. Oh, Larry is here. Larry says, I recognize clickbait when I see it. I never have that objective when I write something, nor does it seem like any senior UXers use clickbait. Is this a tool of junior folks? Larry, I would say that clickbait is a tool of a lot of people because it's social media. It's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's LinkedIn, it's Twitter, and people want to see likes. They want to see followers. They want to see reactions. They want to feel like they're a thought leader. Or they've got something to sell, like Miss Resume Writer. So, there you go. Now, I watched this video. I'm not going to run it now, or I could run it without the sound because I don't want to be guilty of any copyright infringement. But basically, a young woman wants to show you her a day in her life in a tech company, and ultimately she just shows you a lot of food. It's a video mostly about free food, and I thought that this didn't look like a day in the life of any tech worker that I know. Now she was showing you her La Croix fizzy drink, a lot of waving evidently, more free drinks. 2 free drinks, potato chips and popcorn, pear-flavored drink, dried mango. Evidently, a day in the life of working in tech when you're at a fancy company or a startup is just free food and then work those calories off in the gym. Evidently, product management work did not happen today, but gym selfies did. More food, y'all. And the TikTok video is over and seen. So I don't think that was a day in the life of a product manager in tech as much as it was an unfortunate, very narrow view of what it looks like to work at a company that is budgeting for a lot of free food. Yeah, Larry says, and her team wonders why she never gets anything done. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of work getting done there. And when I saw this, I thought about my time at Macy's in downtown San Francisco, and because they had some free food. But then I thought about, 6 hours of meetings a day, and I was like, I got stuff done there. I thought about when I worked at Constant Contact in 2014, and every Friday we got free lunches and there were free snacks. We got a lot of work done. So I don't know what happened here, but this seems like one of those videos that is guilty of kind of, I don't want to say lying by omission, but this will only be true if you work at a company that gives out a lot of free food. And I can tell you from going through some tough times at companies, when a company goes through tough times, the first thing that's cut is the free food. And the second thing that's cut is the UX team. So enjoy that free food, y'all. Julia DeBarry, who we super crazy love here and should really have more followers on LinkedIn, posted this about a week ago. I looked at over 100 resumes for a single role. 85% had some sort of visual design. Designed resumes will be attached to a role in ATS. It doesn't get rejected, but a lot of manual copying and pasting. Hey, having design elements on your resume, blocks of color, non-standard fonts, logos, stock photography, personal photography, icons, do not make you more qualified. Do not make me want to dig deeper in your resume. Do not make me think you're a better candidate than someone with a non-designed resume, and do not make your resume easier to read. I super agree with Julia, and I decided some months ago to actually add a visual element to my resume. Now, I know that ATS systems, because it's a single single graphic, so it's not color and fonts, it's just a single graphic, I know that the ATS systems just ignore it, and that's fine. It's really, I designed it for people who are reading my resume. And sometimes people do, and I know they do because I'm put in a graphic that's a conversation starter. And I can tell when someone has read it because they take the bait. So I put in a little timeline. It's really simple. I made it in Axure. It's a line with a bunch of dots and a bunch of things. And I put in interesting things that have happened to me in my career that would someone might want to ask me a question about, like how Seth Godin wrote about me in a book, and how eBay used to tell me I was too innovative, and stuff like that, like little, I'm trying to fish you in and I want you to interview me because you're a curious cat. So I find the ATS systems don't read that graphic, and that's fine. And when people do read that graphic, I can tell because people will message me or call or whatever and say, tell me about why eBay said you were too innovative. And I go, yes. So I'm not advocating for graphics in resumes. I agree with Julia. I agree that the resume has to be easy to read, easy to understand, and easy for ATS systems to parse. So I tend to recommend a linear format, no columns, standard fonts, things like that. But I did put this graphic in as a conversation starter, and I think in some cases it's working. So that's up to me. Solomon says, apply UX principles to your resume. Who's looking at your resume? What's important to them? Now make that. Totally agree. My resume is boring, linear words and written to say to someone, I can do this job, get to know me. Yes to that. Oops, I opened this one twice as well. This was a video that someone sent, which is, it went viral years ago. So I was really surprised to be sent it now, but it is a comedy video, The Mysterious Life of UX Designers. And it's a 3-minute video. It's got 500,000 views. And basically it just shows people like partying and putting sticky notes on everything. And I thought it was funny. So I don't know why you'd send that in. What can I possibly react to this? What am I going to say? No, this isn't funny. It was funny. Wilson says, I love this video. Yeah, it's a good video. What else can we say about it? Moving on. This was a Reddit, and it says, is it normal to have days where there's nothing to do for a UX designer? My quick answer to that is that has happened to me from time to time, but it is rare. So is it possible and normal? Yes. Is it rare? Usually. Because usually, especially someone who's more senior, will find a way to fill that time. So even if you are in a holding pattern because you're waiting for something from the product manager or the business analyst, what can you do with that time? If you're a researcher, can you spin up some research? If you're a designer, do you want to work on something else? Do you want to brainstorm something for the future? Like, to me, there's always something we can be doing, especially in the realm of research and testing. So I would say you're welcome to sit around, especially if you need a break, and there is a break. But otherwise, see what you can put in that time. And I think that matches some of the suggestions here. Solomon says, always more problems to solve. So true. Let's see how many more we have. I'm looking to just blow through these today. Good. Last 4, and then we're going to wind it up. And if you're coming in late, please note that I said for 2022, the reaction streams are going to change format a bit. In short, they're going to be much shorter. I'm not going to do everything everybody sends me. I'm going to pick and choose. And that way they're just not symmetric rants about the same things every week, because really y'all send me very symmetric things. So I will handpick 4 things each week. We'll devote a few minutes to each of them. We'll do a short 15-minute stream, and it'll just be a little bit of a Friday smile rather than an hour-long rant. This one is UX Booth, designing the onboarding experience. Okay, so before we go into this, let me quickly say that I tend to see onboarding as having 2 different definitions. There's onboarding, which is, you know what? People are joining our site, service, system, app, whatever, and they really can't get started until we get information from them. They can't get started until they fill out this form. They can't get started until they upload a thing. Sometimes there are products and services where you can't really start using the system until you put something in. That is a typical onboarding experience where we have to collect something from somebody and then they can use it. The other definition I see of onboarding is something that I typically call first time experience, or FTE. That's the term that I heard for it back in Silicon Valley days. And some people call it onboarding, boot camps call it onboarding, but actually it's usually a tutorial that comes at the start of when people sign up for something or do a free trial of something. And it's meant to be like a quick tour or something like that. I tend to be against those. Larry says, I reshare that video every so often. It gets a few laughs from non-UXers. We have a glass room for UX designers, and sometimes we'll do something crazy with the doors closed, just like the video. That's good. So be careful. When onboarding truly is onboarding and you cannot get started until you do these things, then okay, we have to design the best and shortest onboarding possible. The question is, what's the minimum stuff we need to collect for people to just get started and get invested in this? If you see onboarding as, I'm going to show people some screens and explain what this app does, I often think that's a little bit out of context. They're signing up for it. I hope they know what it does. And if they don't know what it does, will it be better to try to school them up front, or teach them in the moment, or just make the thing freaking intuitive where you don't have to teach them at all? And sometimes people come to me, especially those newer to UX, and they say, yeah, Larry says tutorials are a symptom, not a solution. Agree. Sometimes people come to me and they say, I'm a UX researcher and my company wants me to test the onboarding and see if people like it or remember what we taught them. And so I'm going to show them the onboarding and ask them some questions about it. Let me tell y'all, the best way to test these stupid tutorials and stuff that people are putting at the beginning of stuff, which by the way is mostly out of style. I mean, name a product that still does that isn't some sort of small company or startup. The big companies don't do this anymore. They just, design intuitive stuff, or at least they try. So I tell people the way to test these things is not to show people the onboarding and then ask them, did you remember it? Did you like it? Give them a task that's past the onboarding. So let's say there's this, it's not really onboarding, it's a tutorial. Let's say that past this tutorial, you need people to search for a doctor in their area. Do not give them the task of watch the onboarding. You've already skewed your research. A lot of people don't want to watch the onboarding. So the idea would be, give them the task of, you need to find a doctor in your area. Now, of course, give them a prototype or the real thing that starts out with this tutorial or first-time experience. Make sure there's a skip button or option and watch how many people skip it. That's your answer. That's your answer. The end. People mostly want to skip these things. If they see a way to skip it, most people will. And that's your answer. The end. Moving on. All right. This one says, junior consultant UX UI job. Again, for the most part, I think y'all can stop sending me crappy jobs. I've seen them all. I wrote an 8-hour HR training video, which is completely free. You can find a link to it at deltacx.com/links. It's for HR recruiters and hiring managers, and I tell people stop making crappy jobs like this. So again, if you're thinking of sending me something, ask yourself, what could Deb possibly say here? And if you already know what I'm going to say, you don't have to send it in. Y'all know what I'm going to say. Let's save some time here. So this was obviously sent in because it was a mountain of ridiculous stuff. It was UX, UI, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and stuff like that. And so sure, that's just a jack of all unicorns. And they want a junior, which means this person's new to all of this, which means good luck, everybody. Okay, this was another Reddit that says, unpopular opinion. One of the biggest problems UX designers need to solve right now is how to cut back on making more digital products. Solomon says, doesn't being a consultant take years in practice? They probably mean contractor, Solomon. Elena, I'm always afraid I'm saying your name wrong, says, and include salary in your ads, please. Larry says, I like the postings that say you will report to the CEO as a team of one. Yikes. Yeah, so I stopped after this thing because I can see why this is an unpopular opinion, because I don't see why we need to cut back on making more digital products. We need digital products. We need the right ones. We need them to be well designed and architected because we did the research and we understand the target users and their needs, tasks, workarounds, tools, knowledge, blockers, issues, questions. So I don't think we need fewer digital products. We just need better designed digital products. So I think that I can see why this is an unpopular opinion. It kind of doesn't make sense. If everybody wants to agree to it and start making fewer digital products, good luck. If you show up to a job that makes digital products and you start protesting and saying we need to make fewer of these, I would say expect to not work there fantastically long. So what's your point? Okay, and finally, someone sent me this D-Scout blog post that says to ask or not to ask how to design research for difficult questions. Now, the funny thing is this is semi-clickbaity because what's your impression from this headline? My impression was, what if we're doing research where we need to talk to people about sensitive things? What if we need to ask them about their health care? What if we need to speak to people about a time when they were homeless or struggling with illness or something like that? I really thought that difficult questions were going to be interviews that required extra sensitivity. Solomon says, random question. Can someone be a CEO without having other employees in their company? Take it from me? Yes. Larry says, when I see something that benign as one of the biggest problems, I don't bother reading any further. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, we have so many problems. I mean, things aren't accessible and companies are being sued and disabled people and people with conditions can't use stuff and we're worried there's too many digital products. Yeah. So crazy thing about this article is it's not about that. It's actually about dealing with the questions this person was getting from their coworkers that were research requests. Like, can you research this? Can you test this? Can you tell me if users prefer this over this? Evidently, those were the difficult questions. And then they say not all questions can be answered with research. Larry? Can all questions be answered with research? Or can not all questions be answered with research? Let's be binary today. Let's be grumpy and binary. Can we think of a question that couldn't be answered with excellent research? I think the only question you can't answer with excellent research are future predictions. If you are asking me what people will do in the future, how they'll think in the future, what they'll buy in the future, how much they're willing to pay, that can be guessed at with research, but it can't be answered. I would say I can't think of something else that can't be answered with research. So that's 2 strikes for this article so far. Solomon says, but what's the meaning of life? So I think I'm done with this article. Not impressed. Moving on. Trying to make the reaction stream shorter. In the future, it will be shorter. Things will be handpicked. I will not bother with some of the same old things we keep seeing all the time, like UX, UI, jack of all unicorns jobs, and some of this other stuff. I'll try to pick 4 genuinely interesting things I'd like to talk about. Like at the beginning of the show, I talked about that article we found that said you should never pay for UX mentoring. I think that's worth having a conversation about. If it's not worth having a conversation about, don't send it to me, or I'm not going to pick it for reaction streams in the future. They're going to be 15 minutes. We're going to have short conversations about 4 things, and we're going to wave goodbye. Any last thoughts or comments from the live chat friends before I play us out of here? Meanwhile, let me tell you what's coming next week, because I'm going on vacation next week, and that means the schedule is going to be thrown off for a few weeks, and there are some things I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to even do. So make sure you go over to deltacx.com/links. There is a link there that says event calendar. That has all of the upcoming shows that are scheduled. old. I have been changing it a lot lately, so it's good to check in with it, or because it's a Google Calendar, add it to your Google Calendar. That way it'll always be updated and you won't be surprised. Wilson says, have a good vacation. Thank you. I'll certainly check in and I'll be on Slack from time to time. So you can't get rid of me yet. So what's coming next week is Monday. I'm going to be doing a show on frequently asked questions that I get about being a freelancer or contractor. So if you have questions burning in your hearts and minds about being a freelancer or contractor or running your own agency or consultancy, Monday is when you want to come answer those. Ask those so I can answer those. I've got a list of questions ready to go from people who've been sending me questions the last couple of months. I've kind of put them all aside to be part of this show. So come on Monday, please, 6:30 p.m. Italy time, and join live if you'd like your question answered as well. If you can't make it, send it to me through Slack and I will make sure to answer that on the show and you can watch it back later. Tuesday will be Office Hours Ask Me Anything at the usual time, 6:30 p.m. Italy time. Just me this one. Wednesday, I go on my vacation. So that means there probably will not be any other streams the rest of the week. I'll see you Monday and Tuesday, and then I will not see you. And then for the week after that, I think we're going to end up having no streams other than reaction stream on Friday. I'm just on vacation all week. I should be getting back the morning of Friday the 3rd, and I'll do a reaction stream. Usual time, not today, 6:30 p.m. Italy time. The week of December 6th, we are back with our UX Think Out Loud series. I'm going to continue working on that timekeeping project so you can see how that is moving along. Come and ask your questions. Tuesday the 7th, Office Hours Ask Me Anything. Wednesday the 8th, Slack video networking. So for people who are part of our Slack channel, we do a free monthly video networking adventure, and you can join by finding the link in the Slack. Friday the 10th, reaction stream. Monday the 13th, Think Out Loud. So I'm going to try to do Think Out Loud every Monday. But of course, we're coming into the holiday season, so it'll be a little bit wacky. What else? I've got nothing else planned that week, and I don't even see... Oh yeah, Office Hours that week got moved to Friday. Friday the 17th will be Office Hours Ask Us Everything with me and Darren and Dr. Nick. The week leading up to Christmas, we have a special guest. Won't you please mark your calendars for December 20th? The fantastic and handsome Pier Mario, also known as Debbie's boyfriend, will be here. He's going to do what will probably be a 2-hour live show on how to create your CX or UX portfolio in WordPress. Do not buy WordPress.com. You're going to use WordPress.org with your own domain name, and he's going to show you how to build the pages in WordPress's Gutenberg editor with the GeneratePress plugin, right?
Mostly, I was wondering who the super handsome guest was.
You are the super handsome guest. So that's a yes. Tuesday will be double office hours. Friday's Christmas Eve. Y'all shouldn't be looking at me. Go look at people you love. And let's see, the week between Christmas and New Year's, we've got Office Hours Ask Me Anything. We've got Reaction Stream, and then I'm missing where we put in a show. We put in a second show for Pier Mario. Was he joining me on Office Hours? Yes, he is. So he's joining me on Office Hours Tuesday the 28th because he joins me every time we clock another 1,000 subscribers, and we come and we do Ask Deb's Boyfriend Anything for the comedy. So I'm going to play us out of here. Thanks to everybody for a fun show. Thanks for your comments. Always good to see you who showed up. Elena, Solomon, Wilson, Larry, Solomon, which reminds me, thanks also to the people who are using paid memberships here on YouTube. Totally optional, but at the mid-level or senior higher or senior level, thank you so much to Anita, Chang, Darren, Irena, Jordan, Michelle, Nikki, Ralitza, Ray, Solomon, and Mix Betty. Memberships are available, I think, for as little as $3 a month, and I reinvest this money in the channel, and some of it I use to buy chocolate chips. Same for all the supers. Super chats, super stickers, and eventually super thanks, which is coming soon when they turn it on for my channel. So everybody have a good weekend. Please keep wearing masks and being safe. Numbers are going up. Great to be vaccinated, but you can still get sick. So please still be careful. And I will see everybody on Monday for, what am I doing on Monday again? Freelancing and contracting and being your own agency. Have a great weekend. See y'all soon. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are